button. So,
All right. So
okay,
we are
we're
live
live.
now. Okay, so that, Frank, I'll just be introducing everyone here on the call today. I'm happy to be here again, and we are very glad to have Frank back from holiday. We have Frank Falvey here from Cork Island, and then myself, Joseph Afeso. We are both MVPs, and also we have another MVP on the call there, Onyechi, from Ireland, and we have Opeyemi Stephen from UK. Hi, Stephen. And then we'll have Seena from Bahrain. It's been a while, Seena. We missed your face here. Yes, just the next person from the way my screen is arranged is Dan Ray, Microsoft MVP. Dan Ray is an old face here, right? So hello to you, Dan. And we have the SharePoint wizard here, Ami Diamond MVP. So we are happy and lucky to have you here. Thank you, Ami. You are doing marvelous job on Copilot, and I truly appreciate that. Your update popping up here and there, and yes, that information is always very valuable, and it's always important that I take note of whatever you put. So thank you so much for the great work. And then we'll have our data queen here, Abimbola Arowolo from Lagos, Nigeria. So last week she was here with us, and here today she is with us, and we are happy to have this full house today. So we'll be having Onyeshi speak to us about, can you remind me again, workflow in Microsoft Teams, right?
Yes, workflows in Microsoft Teams.
Okay, so I'm thinking, Sina, do you have something for us also after Onyechi?
Yeah, have something which is about triggered
I was just,
agents and copilots too.
okay, makes sense. So I was just thinking that you would just come to say hello today, but thank you for always coming with content. And
Thank you, Joseph.
Abimbola, do you have something in stock for us today? All right, you just come to just cheer us up. That's great. So myself, if I have the
Oh,
time, I'll be looking at how to investigate compromised accounts in M365, like the best practice to follow if a user reaches out to you that the account is compromised, or if you discover a compromised account in your environment. But that's very important. It can bring down organization. So Frank will be dealing on Copilot, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah. So we leave
Oh,
everyone else go ahead first, and we'll see how we get on. I think Dan, you might want to kind of share some stuff about the TikTok project that you're doing at the moment, promoting
Yeah.
Microsoft. Yeah, cool. So I suppose Anya, seeing you're first up, and we'll leave Seena go, and we'll see how we get on. Yeah. Do you want
Okay.
to share your screen with us?
Yeah, so before I share my screen, I would love to say thank you for the opportunity to share again. I'll just give a bit of introduction to my topic. So I'll be talking about how to streamline your workday using workflows in Microsoft Teams. Recently, we just got to know that the end of support has been reached for Classic Teams and is going to commence on the 1st of July. Last year, we heard about the Microsoft Teams new clients, and we know that this new Teams client is 2 times faster than app launch compared to the Classic Teams. And the most importantly, it uses 50% of less memory, right? But in as much as we move to the new Teams, there was a particular feature that I missed so much from the Classic team, and that was the save message, right? And in the process of missing this particular feature, I thought about what would be the best way to get an alternative for this particular feature, right? And that was where I dampened upon workflows. And for today, I'm going to share how workflows has been helpful since using it in Microsoft Teams. As you can see on my screen, this is a Teams application from the web, right?
We
Yeah,
don't
And
see your screen.
we
We
can
don't.
don't
you
see
see my
your
screen?
screen.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Okay.
stop sharing and share again. Can you see now?
Not yet.
I think you might need to use
Hang on. Here now. Here you go. We can see you now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We can see
Okay.
your teams now. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Microsoft Teams application. I launched this from the web, right? And normally with the classic Teams, which is the old one, when let's say I got a message from Diego, I would probably click on the three dots and I will save this message. And save message worked for me because in a situation where I'm working and I'm swamped with activities, and probably it might be a long read, I save the message that later on I will read it. So since save message couldn't make it to the new Teams, keeping fingers crossed and waiting for Microsoft till when they bring it to the new Teams client, I had to use workflows. So let's say I got a message from admin lady and she shared this on Microsoft Innovation. Looking at this, this is a news from Microsoft.com, right? And it might take a lot of time for me to read this document and consume that. And I don't want to be distracted with what I'm doing. I would just have to click on the three dots and I would use more actions, right? And the more actions, I created a workflow saved to OneNote. So an alternative for me was to save this to OneNote and I can look at it later on. So if I click on save to OneNote, the workflows is powered by Power Automate. I could just go ahead to add any notes that is optional. I choose to add notes so that I would not forget where I got the message from. I could decide to say message from admin lady, and I could also specify the channel or the particular team where the message came from. So I will be able to reference later on. And once I'm done with this, I just click on submit. So what this does is it takes the link and the message itself and it saves it for me on OneNote. I can decide to go to OneNote to see that particular message. So if I go to view notes, this is the way the message appears. um right right now it might look it looks weird, right? Because it's not appropriate or probably aligned properly, because it's going to create a new page for you. But you can decide to edit the Power Automate and make it suit you the way that pleases you, right? But for me, this is really helpful that this is the message, the note I added, message from admin lady market project. Whenever I have time, I can go back to look at this particular link and read up on that. Now, if we go back to the teams, another thing that is also helpful is finding a meeting time with sender. So let's say I'm working on a project and Diego sent me a message and says, wonderful news. If you need any help from corporate, please feel free to reach out. Um, Instead of stressing myself and sending a message to Diego, I just want to confirm when you'll be free for us to have a chat on corporate. I could just go ahead and click on the three dots um, and click on more actions. So either I could go on follow up on a message later on to send him a message, or I could use another workflow that I've created, which means that I can find a time that suits the sender. So if I click on find a meeting time with the sender, so what this does is I could just go ahead to say whatever subject I could call it, catch up on corporate, right? Or whatever subject that pleases you. I could go ahead to write a message that's probably letting him know, oh, I'm booking a time. I could say, I am booking a time with you for catch up. Please feel free to reschedule. So this saves me time of going to my Outlook, checking when I'm free, and also going to his Outlook to check when he's free. So I could just ask workflow to help me do that. Depending on how long I want this meeting for, I could leave it at the duration of 25 minutes and I go ahead to click on submit. So what workflow does, it goes to my Outlook, check my calendar, also check the calendar of Diego and choose a suitable time that it's free. So what I could see here is that there is a meeting scheduled for April 28th, which happens to be Monday. If I click on you can view the meeting here. It takes me to Outlook for me to see the time that this was scheduled, right? And this is 9:30 to 9:55. And remember, I sent a message to Diego telling him that he should please feel free to reschedule. So peradventure, when he gets to work and there is an urgent meeting that he needs to attend to, he can decide to reschedule. So this has saved me time of going back and forth, sending him personal messages on Team. What time will he be free? Also going to his calendar. Another workflow that has been helpful for me as well is scheduling a reply, right? Let's say I'm working with a colleague on a particular project and I have a deadline to submit a presentation or a document. And while I'm preparing this documentation, a colleague just sent a message to me. There are people who are very fine with multitasking. There are people who get easily distracted. So in order for people who are easily distracted, they can decide to schedule a reply. So what I could do, let me just look for a particular message that I can schedule a reply. We could see Lee saying, I was at the test and amazed at how well the Mark 8 project did, especially the camera. I could just go ahead, click on the three dots on the workflow I've created already, and I could schedule a reply. I could just schedule, let's say, for the purpose of this demo, I would just choose today, select the date, and I also select the time. So I could decide to say that this message should be sent by, this is 7:12. I can decide to make this to be sent by 7:15, right? Um, I always like to notify myself when the message is posted. This is why I chose this is for me to know that this message has been sent. Should the message goes ahead to be sent and probably after a few minutes I didn't get a response to the person I sent the message, I can do a follow-up. And it's also for me to know if the workflow itself worked successfully or if it failed. I could go ahead to say that my reply to Lee is, I could just say thank you or whatever the message could be, and I'll go ahead to submit. So this is 7:13. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to get an update from workflow that my message has been sent. Another thing I use workflow for is depending on the organization that you're working for, maybe you're submitting timesheet weekly or you're submitting timesheet bi-weekly. Some of employees or some majority of employees get carried away that they forget to submit their timesheets. You could also use workflow to remind you, right? And it works best when you're working with your team members. So you can probably, depending on the project you're working on, you can create a channel for that. So for this, I created a channel called timesheet reminder. So this is the way it works for this particular workflow. I have already automated it that it should always send a reminder every 2 weeks. So it's better early than late, right? So you could just get a message, hey, quick reminder to submit timesheets. So immediately you get this, you just go ahead to the platform to submit your timesheets, right? And there are a lot of workflows for anyone to use to streamline their automation in Teams. So what you could do is you can just go ahead to click on workflows, and when you click on workflows, it takes you to home, then there's create and there's chat. So when the home is the workflows that you have already created. So these are some of the workflows that I've been using to streamline my day-to-day activities. You could also check templates from workflows. These templates are either from Microsoft or from the community, people who have created a workflow using Power Automate. And you could also create one yourself from scratch if you're very good with Power Automate. Now, remember, I sent a message. I scheduled a message to be sent. You could see from notification, it says schedule reply. You could see that by 7:15, that message went ahead to Lee. Thank you. So these are some of the workflows that you could use. Then there is an important one that I love so much, and that is informing users when you're running late for a meeting. So if I go to my calendar, I have a meeting here for 7:35. I can edit this meeting and probably, let's see, I schedule this meeting for 9:30. And remember that when you have a meeting on Microsoft Teams, right, you're always reminded 15 minutes before the meeting starts, right? So I've gone ahead to edit this that the meeting will be starting in the next 14 minutes. So we'll just give it some time, and I will be getting a message from Workflow letting me know that I should inform users. So the way this works is sometimes we might have a couple of meetings in our calendar, and let's give an example that there is a meeting starting from 6:30, that the meeting is going to end by 7:30, and you have another meeting from 7:30 to 8 o'clock, right? It's always appropriate that before you move from one meeting to the next meeting, you should at least have a breather, right? Take some time, stand up, do some stretches, and this will help you to be effective in your contribution to the next meeting. But we know that sometimes when we're in a meeting, a particular meeting can run over, right? And when this meeting runs over, you probably you're the one you're speaking at that particular time, and you have another meeting coming up soon. You're struggling on going to the chat to bring up a chat and say, "Oh, guys, I'm running late," and all that. How about having a workflow, right, that would help you remind you that the meeting is about to start? You have already scheduled the message that you're going to send. And what this does is when you let colleagues know ahead of time that you're running late, it lets them know that you are not absent intentionally. And secondly, that you value their time. So while we wait for, let's give some ample time. Let me just refresh to get the message. Or probably let me just edit the meeting to make it closer. So if I change this to so our meeting should be starting in 2 minutes. So hopefully I get a message from Workflow. So while we wait for that to come, let me just look for an old workflow that I've used before. So this is the way the message comes in. For example, it picks your next meeting, it says your next meeting is about to begin. And the good thing about this workflow is that it picks the meeting and it picks the organizer, because sometimes, let's say you started the day on Monday and this is happening to you on Thursday. You might not remember all the meetings, the meeting title, and whoever organized that meeting. So it's going to come in a form like this: meeting, the name, the subject of the meeting, who organized it. And this is the message that I have already imputed that it should send. I will be joining. So project catch up is the meeting subject. I will be joining a few minutes late. And what happens is that if you know that you'll be on time, you can decide to dismiss, right? And this card times out every 30 minutes. But if I know I'm running out probably like 5 minutes to the time, I know I'll be late. You just go ahead to click send. So once you go ahead to click send, what it does is whoever that organized, like this one was, I initiated this by 7:55. It goes to the organizer and it hits the message chart for the organizer. And this is how it's going to look like. Adele says, I'll be joining test meeting a few minutes late, right? Obviously, when you send this message, you're definitely going to get a thumbs up from people. But imagine workflow helping you do this, and you're still concentrating in your meeting. It's just for you to click send than you going ahead to type the message. So these tips has really been helpful for me being productive in Teams on my day-to-day activities. I hope you have learned a thing or two, and you could also leverage on workflows to help you be productive in your day-to-day activities. Thank you.
Thanks, Anya. There's some great tips there for teams. And we see that just at the end of your thing there, we could see that your message did come in at 1920. Any questions, anybody?
Are you using the
So I
Teams
think Amy is
2.0?
speaking on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. In the background, it actually creates a Power Automate for each flow that you create by yourself. Is that correct?
Yes. And most of the ones I'm using has already been created. I just picked them from templates and I edited them.
Great. Can you list them all like in a post or something? Is it
So maybe
possible that you
Yeah, sure, I can.
you make like a list or something and just it would be very helpful.
Sure, I will.
Just all of the
Okay,
use
so
cases. Yeah,
yeah, with what you just said, I'll just write a blog and I'll share that on.
yeah,
Very,
perfect.
very good. So, Seena, do you want to share your screen there with us?
Yes, Frank. Thank you.
Frank, is my microphone working?
Yeah, it is. I can
Good.
hear you there, Dan.
Okay, just wondered.
So, like, we're broadcasting to 5 LinkedIn channels, 3 YouTube channels, and Facebook.
And TikTok.
I can't see TikTok up there on the top.
It's I'm sharing my screen into TikTok, so we're on
Okay.
TikTok, but you won't see it.
Okay,
That's why I
no worries.
warned everybody, so they
Please
know.
let me know my screen is up.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can see your screen there now. Yeah.
Thank you. Today I'm going to present you about how to build educator's assistant in Copilot Studio. So for that, I have a form in Canvas app and a list here in SharePoint, and the name of the list is course schedule, and these are the columns for this list: course code, course name, instructor name, start date, end date, course duration, number of participants, and status. So through this form, I will submit data into the SharePoint list. Upon submitting the data into SharePoint list, so here I have already created an educator's assistant agent. So there I have configured a trigger. So this trigger is when an item is created or modified in SharePoint list. So this trigger will execute automatically. So this is I'm going to demonstrate. So firstly, let me go through the Canvas app, how I have created this. So here 2 screens are there. One is a course form and another one is a success screen. So this course form screen, I have just added a form. This is an edit form only. So I have done this as just by adding a new screen. I will just show you an example as. So here, this is the edit form, and which is we have already have the database connection. So I'm just picking up the database connection. So when we are adding a form, so it will by default it will ask for the connection, which data source it has to be connected. So I'm just selected it, the one which I needed. Okay, and here whatever columns we need upon the based on the columns in the SharePoint list. So here the same columns you can see based on the data source it is added there: title, course name, instructor, start date, end date, course duration, number of participants, and status. So this particular column we don't need, so just delete that. And we can just provide a submit button over here. and provide the name of the button, submit. Then here in the submit button, the on select property, just to submit the form. So for that submit form function, and here the form name, that is form 2. This is our form 2. So select the form 2. Okay. And here you can add a label as well as in the first screen is having. So course submission form, and here is the form, and here is the button. So this is the way we can create the design. And then here select the form. One more thing we need to have, there is a display mode or on success mode. Okay, so in the on success mode we need to provide a success screen or whatever it is. Okay, what is the next thing we should have to configure? So for that, here what I have done is form mode equals form mode node dot new. So every time this form will get successfully completed, then the new form will be replaced and it will get reset as well. And then in the submit button, I have submitted it, and then what will happen, it will submit the data to the SharePoint list, and then navigate to screen 2. Screen 2 is my success screen. How I have added a success screen, so here in this plus new screen you can see this. Okay, so there are so many options, different types of screens are there. Just to select the success. Okay, so it will, so you don't need to design it anymore. So by default a success screen will be available there. So this is my form. So now I am having two screens. One is course submission form and another one is a success screen. Now coming into the Copilot Studio. So I have created an educator's assistant agent. So what I have done is, okay, here it is. It's a normal way. Hopefully most of you knows how to create an agent in Copilot Studio. So go here in the agents, or in the plus create also you can create, you can select. So in the plus new agent, just select it. It will redirect to an interface, okay, where you can create, and the skip to configure is better. So we can manually provide our instructions or the descriptions and the name of the agent. So this is the way I have created it. And here I have given the description as educators assistant is an intelligent agent designed to empower educators by streamlining instructional and administrative tasks, such as creating lesson plans, delivering course materials, tracking progress, etc. And then here the general instructions. When asked about lesson planning, generated structured plan that includes objective, key concepts, recommended activities, materials for the requested topic or subject. So these all are the general instructions, and here I have enabled the generative AI also. So thereby AI agent also get some external websites access or some general knowledge as well about the topics. And I didn't configure any of the topic, I just configure only the trigger. So how triggers will work here, just to click on add trigger. Then when an item is created, you can see here number of trigger options. Okay, a recurrency you can provide, like a particular schedule this has to be executed. Then new response through the forms. So there are so many options you can see when an email arrives or when a row is added in a database table. Then when a file is created in OneDrive. And here in the SharePoint, I have selected this when an item is created or modified. When we select this, it will go for the next, and here you have to select the SharePoint site, then the list as well. So these are the two connectors we need to do for this particular triggers. Then click on next. And here in the site address, okay, it will list out, okay, whatever the available sites in this particular tenant. So I'm having this tech trends selected. Then the list also will get loaded. What are the available lists? So two lists I'm having, course schedule and leave request. So I'm selecting course schedule list. So this is my list name. And here nothing, no need to change anything for this limit columns by view or this additional instructions. Just you need to create a trigger. That's it. So this is the way I have created a trigger. Now for how we can view, or if we want to do more like configurations or customization, so we can open this it in a Power Automate. So this is the one. So here it is. These are the two actions we are having when an item is created. And here it is, you can see automatically the tech trend site selected, the list name, and okay, and here the sends a prompt to the specified copilot for processing. So you can see which copilot is selected. So this is my copilot name, and use content from body of the list. So these are the two actions. So if you want to, like, okay, additionally, like if you want to send an email also to the administrators or the educators or the students, okay, that also you can do, because we are once this administrators going to add a course over here. So for example, like now title, course name, I'm just providing Azure AI Fundamentals. Instructor and start date. Course duration 24 hours and 25 participants, and status is scheduled. Now I'm submitting this. So this was successfully completed. The success screen arrived. Now just go to the SharePoint list, just refresh it. You can see the next. Okay, so this is the one which we have added just now. And here go to the Copilot again, and we can test this by clicking on test trigger. Just refresh for the latest one. It will take a little bit time to get the latest one. Okay. I'm just showing an example. This is the previous one. I have just tested before this show. So this is the previous one. I'm just testing it again. So start testing. Here it will show okay. Now here I'm just expanding this, and here you can see the data of that particular content, and an item is created or modified. So this trigger is detected now, and here the course name and instructor. This is the previous one only. So Power Platform Fundamentals. And if I want to, so it is asking, could you please provide the specific course details or topic you would like me to use, or this will help me generate a structured plan or provide the information. So I'm just asking here Azure AI or Power Platform itself. Okay, so that is it is showing. So Power Platform Fundamentals. Provide Power Platform Fundamentals lesson plan. So this is the lesson plan I have received. And this is again, if you want to, like I didn't configure that. If you want to send this lesson plan to any educators or the student, okay, we can ask agent to send it to student email or educator email for further process also. Any doubts on this? So this is my today's presentation.
Very good, Seena. Well done. I'm kind of doing some stuff on agents myself, and I didn't get around to doing the triggers, but it was nice to see
Okay.
the triggers. We did get one comment in there, all right, but I don't think it's kind of, I'll put her up on the screen. It's hard really to answer that question, I think. How far can Power Automate stretch in terms of functionality? I suppose
Okay.
as far as you want, really. You can scale up if you're using the cloud.
Yeah, that is we can it is actually a versatile tool. We can say it as it stretches across a wide range of functionalities, like it can enabling users to automate workflows for personal, business and enterprise purposes. The previous demonstration also, which shows the Power Automate in Teams also, like we can there, we can create customized flows or workflows there. And here also, over 900 connectors are there. We can integrate Power Automate, Microsoft as well as third-party services. So Microsoft ecosystem itself, like involving SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, Excel, Power BI, then Dynamics 365. Then there are some third-party tools like Salesforce, Google Workspace, and Twitter. So these all are under various custom connectors also, like we can build custom connectors. We can by using Visual Studio Code and some SDKs, and then that is also there. We can integrate the Power Automate. Then AI powered automation also there, like with the AI builders. Okay, we can use sentimental do sentimental analysis, then document processing, then object recognition, desktop also are there, cross platform support is there. There are so many.
Yeah, and I think underneath the hood, they're kind of using Fabric to connect everything together, aren't they? Like OneDrive, all the agents, agent to agent is kind of
Yes,
the thing as well.
yes.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Seena. Brilliant.
Okay.
Dan, do you want to go next? Do something for us?
Sure. We're gonna see if this works.
Okay.
Because we're doing something pretty involved here. What I am doing today is actually sharing my stream from TikTok Live Studio over to TikTok. And the stream that I'm sharing is the Azure and AI Show. So if all this works, Frank, you should be able to see the Azure and AI Show from LinkedIn and my video. And I'm using the TikTok Live Studio to do so. So you mentioned at the beginning that we have several different channels that we're on, right? We're on several different YouTube locations and LinkedIn locations. And one thing that we can do once either Joseph or myself or Solomon or others that are on TikTok grow to at least 1,000 users, we can actually send the Azure and AI Show, just like we're sending to those other platforms, out to TikTok. The challenge we have at this point is that many of us, besides I think Solomon, are under 1,000 subscribers or followers. I think they call them followers on TikTok. Subscription or subscribers is another thing on TikTok. But one of our goals at the Azure and AI Show and Journey to the Cloud and the Microsoft Speakers Hub on LinkedIn was to not just limit ourselves to that platform or to, Frank's profile or my profile or Seena's profile, Joseph's, etc. And so we are either using Restream or StreamYard to accomplish that. By going to these multiple platforms, we have the ability to gather people and meet people where they are. And one thing that Solomon Jeremiah shared with me at the Microsoft MVP Summit in March was the amount of people that he has grown on TikTok that are following him, that are learning from him. And then there are several others that are teaching Microsoft or cloud-based technologies on TikTok. When I learned that, I decided, hey, it's not going to hurt to see what this whole platform is about. One of the options was to download something called TikTok Live Studio. And what the studio allows you to do is actually add in multiple different sources. So for instance, if I go into the Live Studio, which you can't see all of, you're seeing the portrait mode result of the TikTok Live Studio. If I go in here and I add in, let's say, some information about the Azure and AI Show, and the fact that we're now broadcasting on TikTok as well, and I add that into my studio, what you should be able to see here shortly is the text that is being shared. And then if I believe I make the text larger, we can make it larger so that welcome is visible, or I believe in the edit, if I can get back into settings to edit it, I can make it multi-lines so that it's not word wrapped entirely. So let's see if we can fix this here by fixing the text. There we go. And so does anybody have any questions about how we're on StreamYard as well as TikTok and elsewhere?
So
there we go.
My question would be that so you don't need to have the 1,000 followers to be able to do this?
Correct. There is an exception if you go to the TikTok Live Studio to download it. You don't need to have 1,000 users to go live. And with the TikTok Live Studio, you can share anything from your computer. So right now what I'm sharing in TikTok Live Studio is my video. So I have a second video camera. You can see that on the Azure and AI Show. I am using the video camera that's built into my Surface device, I believe, on one platform, and I'm using the other camera in StreamYard because the Windows platform locks your video. And so the text, video, different sources, different cameras. So if I'm not using both of my cameras, with the TikTok Live Studio, you can do all of this at once, which is pretty neat. You also have to have an account on the TikTok platform as well.
Yeah, so did you have to do the apply before they kind of give you access? Like what's your profile today?
Yeah, great question. Let me toss into the chat, our private chat, the link that I used. It's tiktok.com/studio/download. That page, when you're logged into TikTok, allows you to do the application, which is essentially just proving that you are who you say you are. And they ask in your application some places that you're live on the internet. So I pointed them to my LinkedIn account, my YouTube account, gave them some examples of where I'm already doing live streams. And then as part of that, the account that I first, I guess, applied with, I got access to the TikTok Live Studio only. So I couldn't use my phone to go live, but I could use the Live Studio to go live. And then the Live Studio, the benefit to it, and Solomon shared this with me, was that's how you can screen share. From your phone, you're kind of limited in, you can do effects, you can, check out the chat, you can do TikTok type things, but it's not easy from your phone to share a screen, whether it be your phone or otherwise. Within the TikTok Live Studio, I can actually stream what's on my phone. So if I was trying to explain on TikTok how Teams works, for example, one of the difficulties I might have is that I can't show Teams on my phone while I'm using TikTok. From the Live Studio, I could have my phone running Teams while I'm showing my video and while I've got, text up on the screen. And you get a much larger piece of real estate on a computer than you get on your phone. And I've been posting about like what I'm learning and what the Live Studio looks like on my LinkedIn. So the other thing that I can do is take, when I'm live on TikTok primary, I can actually stream that with Restream out to other platforms. And I could do the same thing with StreamYard, but I'm using my Restream account. And Frank, unless there's other questions,
like the
go ahead.
Portrait view.
Yeah, there's a portrait view and a landscape view too.
Okay, one or two people
TikTok
probably.
Studio work? Okay, can the TikTok Studio work with a phone simulator?
With a what simulator?
Phone simulator.
It has a built-in phone simulator. So I have examples of both using my Android phone and my iOS phone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, are you talking about a phone simulator that's on your computer?
So like if you want to show probably like a demo from your phone to the TikTok Studio, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can do the landscape and portrait. So you give it your phone, like a phone version. So I think you can select that option so that like the way people will see whenever you're watching your phone, so you can see. I think it has that feature. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So we have a few
That's
minutes.
great, Dan. So if I have a question, I can reach out to you. As always.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to have a discussion either on TikTok, over here, Restream, StreamYard, wherever the easiest place is.
Okay.
So we kind of hit kind of a milestone tonight. Now we got 10 different platforms streamed out to 5 LinkedIn accounts, 3 YouTube accounts, Facebook, and TikTok. So that's
awesome, Frank.
Fine mix. I suppose there's always questions kind of asked, like, how can you tell how many? Is there somewhere inside in StreamYard you can check how many hits you got from all your connections?
I don't recall in StreamYard. I believe it tells you where all it's going to, but I don't know if it collects all of the, live statistics. But if it does, Frank, I would assume it's under your, your account, since it's, like the master account.
Yeah,
StreamYard, I don't know about, but Restream, Joseph posted something about Restream, and one of the customer support folks chimed in on his post on LinkedIn, which I thought was interesting, where StreamYard, I know they have there's like an Ask Me Anything that I think I've seen weekly, but I don't tune in on a weekly basis. But it's basically where they talk about like new features and explain how to do things on StreamYard. I know StreamYard has like their own kind of self-help, like, here's how to do things so you can ask questions or get support.
Okay, cool. So I just want to share my screen there just to show you. Microsoft sent me on a new license for Copilot Studio. So it's for building these new agents. So just up in the top part here, you can just type in something, and we say maybe if we want to get a garden agent, to help you looking after plants and stuff like that. Gardener, we call it. So I just put in gardener up the top here, and I just hit the generate button, and it generates some stuff there. So it's telling me here, hello, I'm here to help you build an agent so you can get more done. You can say something like provide best practices for project management or help my teammates on board a new project, stuff like that. Just a second there, I think somebody, yeah, there we go. It's just somebody got logged off and logged them back on. So it's we don't have time to build a full one here now, but up in the top here you can skip to configure, or you can create. So we'll just click into this configure. Okay, so it's giving you it's saying it's an agent, and so you just type in whatever you want there. So we go with gardener. Okay, and really that's the name we give it, gardener helper. Okay, so that's the name we give her. We'll give it capital here. Just so there's an icon here. Then you can actually change the icon if you wanted. Then inside here, provide a description of the gardener, different questions or whatever like that, and then it gives you the instructions down here. Look, see, it's already after filling it out, like provide gardening tips and advice. So answer questions related to gardening, offer suggestions. Okay, so we'll go with that, and then down here, right, you can configure prompts or whatever. But if you just go, like if you want to add different prompts in here, but because we don't have much time now, we'll just go with the prompts that they give here, right? So gardening tips, plant care, seasonal tasks. Okay, and it gives you down here, you can actually add in knowledge. So if you had some SharePoint site that had a lot of gardening stuff on it, you could click on here, and maybe you can use public websites, SharePoint, or the Dataverse. So we're just going to leave it with, like you can put in a website there or wherever like that. So we'll just leave it as, it's going to use its own LLMs to pull the data from. So that's that. And so over at the top corner, I'm going to hit on create, and there it's setting up my agent. So I just gave it a name, and it kind of predicted what I wanted, and made all the prompts and everything else like that. So we'll just, okay, so here is the garden helper, right, the agent. Okay, so so you see over on the right hand side here, hello, I'm the gardening helper virtual assistant, just so you're aware. So these are all the things, and what Seena was on about there earlier about adding triggers. This is that section if you want to put in add a trigger there like that. So if somebody asked you a particular question and it wasn't in their LM, they could send an email back to ask somebody else about questions or something. So we'll ask the question, okay? So I'm just going to put in there, how do I look after roses? Okay, simple enough. So it says it's retrieving. Okay, so taking care of roses can be very rewarding. Here are some tips, and right, it's planting locations, so it's watering, mulching, pruning, fertilizing. So it's giving you, it looks like everything for roses. So you got the settings up here if you want to publish it, test it. So we'll hit on the test, and we more or less publish your agent, and in the middle. So like you can just get a link to it, and you can either put it out onto a SharePoint site or website or whatever you want. So that's kind of simple enough one. But the other one then is just hit the home button here, and back here on my Office account, Office 365, and over on the top right hand side here we've got get agents, right? You click on that one, it shows you lots of third-party agents, so as you can see, loads and loads of them. But I'm just going to go back to where we create an agent here. So this is kind of like Copilot Studio as well, but it's just giving you, it's a different sort of view. So this part here, describe, or you can click on configure, gives you different looks. So describe what it is. So down here is where you put in the thing, like I put in garden helper. And just hit the generate button, and it's kind of reading your prompt and might come up with, okay, and they suggest, okay, garden helper, does that name work for you? And we just tell it yes, hit the enter button. Okay, so you can see over on the right hand side then, this is what your garden helper is going to look like. And coming up with all the prompts and everything here for you. So there's the name, right? So down this section here then, right, it says, let's refine the instructions for the garden helper agent. First, let's define the agent you should, for example, should it provide gardening tips? Help with plant care and assist with gardening. Yeah, so what I'm going to copy out it and just put it in down here, and I'll just say yes, hit. Okay, and I just hit the enter button then. Okay, so yes, it should provide gardening tips, help with plant care, or assist. So it's giving us gardening tips, plant care, or whatever. So if I clicked on one of these, Like you can edit all these prompts yourself and put in your own ones, but we'll click on gardening tips for growing tomatoes. Okay, hit enter. And it takes a couple of seconds to process it. So you can see there on the screen, right? Planting them, watering them, fertilizing, pruning, pest control, harvesting. So pretty simple. So you know, these agents are going to help you do a lot of things quicker. So that's a rough overview of the agents. Any questions on those, guys?
Yeah, I have a question. So, does it require everyone in the organization to have Copilot Studio to use an agent once it has been published?
Well, the last one there is the kind of chat one. It's kind of, I think they're changing to a, consumption model, pay as you go.
Okay.
But the first one, the Copilot Studio, you need a license for that one. I got a license from Microsoft there last week, and you have to have Office 365 account, and the license cost for me for a year would be 187 euros. Not sure the equivalent to that is in. So you should have, I think, Anya, you got one, you have a license yourself for it from Microsoft?
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I'm asking is, let's say an organization decide they are trying to test out Copilot Studio, and they have about 500 employees, and they decide to buy about 10 licenses for Copilot Studio, and they built an agent and they published it for the organization. The remaining 490 employees, do they require license to use that agent that has been published?
If it's published on the website and everyone is given options to use it, do you know what I mean? It's the agent is configured and everyone in the organization can use it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we're just over the hour. So anybody, anything else for us?
Yeah, I think it's
So
amazing.
Frank, I see that we are top of the hour. Yeah, so that's great that we've seen a lot today happening. I'm so excited about Onyinyechi's presentation. I may be reaching out to you for further clarification because I have some questions, but my connection did not allow me to ask you. So I'm going to try out some things myself and then I can reach out to you for clarification. That was great, right? And Seena, thank you for your wonderful presentation as always. Dan, I'm going to chat you. I need to go live on TikTok as well because I need to increase my reach and see how I can deliver some trainings. Yeah. So Frank, thank you too for a wonderful session as usual. Thank you. And Stephen, we are expecting you to bring what you have been cooking for us. We want to taste it.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
All right then. So Abimbola, thank you too for your time.
Okay, thanks everyone. We'll be here again the same time next week. Anybody wants to speak or anything, any new speakers, just reach out to us on LinkedIn and we'll be happy to help you. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.